guys, it's Deidre from our Upcycled Life, and today Tina wanted to be in the video. So she's my best friend. She follows me everywhere. Today I'm going to show you how to make a Father's Day gift for Grandpa. Super simple on a piece of barn board, and I collect lots of old tools all year long at thrift stores, garage sales. Pick them up, kind of put them in a little pile, and save them for projects like this. So today I'm going to show you a step-by-step tutorial of how you can make one for yourself. If you like DIYs, thrifting, repurposing, you've come to the right place, and we'd love to have you follow along. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell for all the notifications so you don't miss any great content. Okay, let's get started. This is my vintage antique tool stash. Whenever I'm out at garage sales, thrift stores, I always look for stuff to pick up to make these signs. I got lots of goodies here. Look at this hinge. How big it is. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with that yet, but that'll turn into a project. And screwdrivers, an old drill press. I just pick them up, I put them in a pile, and then eventually I probably can turn them into some sort of a sign or a project. Now I'm going to put a real liberal coat of our matte black paint and just spread it all over the piece of barn board. I sometimes don't like to go right to the edge. I just like to kind of make it look like it's kind of worn off around the edges, and just put it on quite thick. It's now completely dried, and I'm going to put on a real thick coat of my homemade chalk paint. I'll have a link in the description to the recipe that I use. It's a really great chalk paint, and I love the results that it gives. And you're just going to spread a good thick coat on the whole board. And again, I don't go right to the edges. I like to leave it a little bit off the edges so it looks like it's worn off. Now I'm taking my palm sander, and I have an 80 grit sandpaper on it, and I'm just going to really sand it right around the edges, all over the whole board, make the black kind of show through and the wood show through, make it really rustic looking. I just finished making my graphics on PicMonkey. It's a paid subscription, but I use it almost every day, so it's really worthwhile for me. And this is the Mod Podge from DecoArt that I'm going to be using. It's the exact same as Mod Podge, but I couldn't get any Mod Podge on Amazon, so I bought this, and actually it works just as well. I'll put a link for it in the description too. My graphics are all printed out on just regular computer paper, and don't forget to reverse your text. Now I'm just going to put a liberal coat all over the whole graphic from one end to the other. Not too thick, you just want it to put a pretty good coat onto it. Now these graphics were printed off on a laser jet printer. This process will not work with an inkjet, so you have to make sure you have a laser jet printer to print your graphics off. When you put it on your board, you want to make sure you have it centered where you want it. Take your time. Sometimes I'll even pull out a ruler and make sure that I have the measurements right where I'm putting it on the board. You don't want to do this and then have it crooked or not centered on your board. After you have it all placed on the board, make sure you get all the little air bubbles, make sure it's nice and smooth on your board, and you're just going to let it sit and dry. And I usually let it sit overnight. Now we're ready to glue our vintage wrench on, and I use this E6000. It bonds everything. So you're just going to put a little dab on each end and a little bit in the middle, and then you're going to center it where you want it on your sign and glue it down. And again, I'm going to let this sit overnight. I'm going to let the graphics sit and this cure, and tomorrow we'll finish it up. If you don't have any access to any vintage tools, you could always go to the dollar store, buy a new one, and maybe spray paint it black or any color, and you could use that if you haven't gotten any old rusty ones. This is sat overnight, and now I'm just taking a damp cloth, and you just want to wet it just enough so you can start to see the letters show through. And then the trick is to rub all the paper off. And as you're rubbing the paper off, it's going to leave the ink on the wood, and the paper will be removed, and you'll have a beautiful sign. It takes a little bit of patience. Just rub until you can feel the paper kind of peel away. You don't want it if you don't want it too wet. That's the biggest trick. If you have it too wet, you have the possibility of actually taking the lettering off too. And now I'm going to put my polyacrylic Varathane. This is a matte finish water base, and I love using this one. It doesn't yellow, and it seals it really well. So I'm just going to put a real liberal coat over the whole sign. And there you have a perfect sign for Grandpa for Father's Day to hang in his garage. I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you like, subscribe, and follow along.